Most coaches that I speak to feel really frustrated by the amount of time that seems to be required for them to spend doing marketing for their business because, well, as you would know, wouldn't you rather be spending your time coaching your clients, doing the thing that you really love and want to do, and maybe having more time for yourself, your family, the actual life that you're living every day? Are you maximizing your day-to-day? And most of us would say, well, actually, no, because I feel like I've got to feed this constantly hungry marketing machine, this engine that we've been told that we need to have. So today's episode, I'm going to talk about the antidote to scattered marketing, how you can get off that hamster wheel, still be doing marketing, but actually having it compound and require far less effort for you for actually better results. So I'm sure you're going to want to listen into this one. Stay tuned, it's coming right up. And welcome to She's the Business podcast. I'm your host, Jessica Osborne. If this is the first time you're listening in, a big warm welcome to you. I'm a business coach, a marketing strategist of over 25 years. I spent 20 years in corporate. I've been running my own businesses for over 15 years and spent the last decade coaching other women, entrepreneurs, service-based businesses on how to build, grow, and scale their own online business. Now, I've been there, done that with pretty much everything to do with marketing a business online and offline, because I started well before the time of social media back in the 90s. Now, I created this podcast to bring to you insights, stories, advice to help you to grow your own business, and also to bring guests, other women who are experts in their own field. So we have a great mix of topics that are all designed to help you be the best that you are today. And that includes your health, your wellness, your fitness, energetic spirituality, as well as all the business strategies too. So I hope you enjoy tuning in every week. This is a podcast made by women for women in business, and enjoy. Now back to today's episode. We're here talking about the antidote to scattered marketing. Now, what I see happening, and this is where everybody finds themselves at some point in their business journey. And yes, I have been there too, even though I have all of this knowledge, expertise, and experience in running marketing. Many times I've found myself here. And the place is where you're doing the things that you think you should be doing. You've been told you need to have a strategy for social media. You need to have a website. You should be doing email marketing. Maybe you've got ads running. Maybe you also have a channel, maybe a YouTube channel, a podcast. There are so many different things that you might be doing right now to market your business. And while it can feel like you're succeeding because you're ticking the box on all these different areas, what often is the reality is that it's very scattered, and all of these different activities have no connection, no disconnect. They're not creating a flow of clients in. Now, there's a number of reasons for that. Firstly is that you're following a lot of disparate strategies. You're kind of like following somebody's Instagram strategy, and over here you've got somebody else's LinkedIn plan, and here you've got a podcast and what have you. And you're doing all the things that people say you should, but these are all different people's plans and ideas, and none of them actually synchronize together or integrate. But we need to go a level up above that and actually look at the business as a whole, because when these activities aren't connected to a single purpose, then it's like you're running on a hamster wheel. You're doing the activities every day, every week, or however often you're doing it. But when you stop, the momentum stops. There's no flow. There's no flow on effect because you're not creating a specific, I'm going to use the word journey, and then I'm going to circle back as to why this is not the same thing as a funnel. Not creating a specific journey for your people to come in. And one of the reasons for that is a misconception around what marketing is and means. And I notice a lot of coaches are marketing a business. They're marketing their entire business, thinking I need to market the business. And that means that your content, your messaging are so wide ranging and or broad, depending on what way you do it, where there's actually just a whole lot of noise. There's maybe some great advice, some really good tips, but when people are engaging with it, there's no action flow that's flowing on from it, apart from where they might go and read the next article or watch the next video, right? So what that means is that when the marketing stops, the flow stops, and pretty much every day you're starting off at zero again. You're starting from square one with no momentum. And that's the thing that makes marketing feel really heavy, very time consuming, frustrating, and also ineffective. Frustrating because it's ineffective, because you're like, I'm doing all this stuff. Where are the results? Why are the results not balancing out with the amount of effort that you're putting in? And simply that's why, because of the extreme disconnect between the activities. Now, I did mention funnel a moment ago. Now, what it is and what it isn't. I'm not talking about implementing funnels, okay, in the sense that you'll see a lot of people talking about funnels in our online world. They're like, implement a funnel, and they've got a specific plan for a funnel that you go pick up and implement. And you'll find many business owners and coaches who have multiple funnels running, okay? So that is a very specific sales path for a particular offer. But I'm talking about a level up from that. You may or may not have funnels. You may not need them, which is great news if you're somebody who's like, oh God, another thing I've got to maintain. No. We're talking at a very strategic level here. This is something that's missing from the vast majority of coaching businesses that I've ever worked with, had a look at, seen from the inside in all the years that I have been coaching. And once my clients have understood the concept of a demand system, which is what I'm about to share with you, they've suddenly gone, oh, okay, now I get it. I know how to choose the activities that I should be doing, why I'm choosing them, and how to tell whether it's working or not, so that I can decide, should I stop doing that or replace it with something else? And the reason why we're saying stop and maybe replace is because every activity that you do should have a specific role in your business. The concept of a demand system is not that it is a funnel, but it is a series of mechanisms that are designed to help your prospects move through the 5 different emotional checkpoints that they all pass through before they make the decision to buy. The very first one being recognition. They've got to recognize that you are an expert in that field, that you're somebody who could help them, that this is what they need and this is what you do. So there's recognition happening there. Yes, very closely related to the recognition. The recognition really comes with a lot of differentiation. You're looking and seemingly different to the masses out there, so they recognize you out of the crowd. The relevance is how relevant you are to their business. And of course, that is, you solve the problem that they're looking to help you with, but you actually solve it for their kind of business at their stage, and the way that is going to work well for that particular client. So there's a new level of detail in there that makes you a very relevant fit. Once you pass these 2 gates, you can see the person's already going to be leaning in. It's like, great, I found the person. They help people just like me with my exact problem, and they clearly have a solution that they know how to do it. And that's the next gate. The next gate is trust. So these strategies that we help to go through these phases, right? So then they get to the point of trust. They know how to do it because they've done it before, and they have their process that has been, it's not just teaching someone else's stuff. They've actually got their own very well embedded way of getting there. So you have that level of trust. The trust is the next step. So we've gone through 3. Then the 4th step that they go through, the 4th emotional gate, is desire. That's where they actually have desire for the way that you offer it, for your actual offering. And then the final gate is the action. That is literally the fastest one. It's where they say yes and sign up. So the idea is that you've strategically mapped out marketing activities that support your person, your prospect, through each one of those 5 emotional checkpoints and logical checkpoints, right? Because the brain has to say yes, 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 all the way along to get to the sale. Now, this might happen really quickly. There are certainly some activities where you can cover off about 4 of those in one go, right? So it can happen quickly. You can collapse it, or it might be spread out over a longer time. The way that the world and our environment is right now, people are they get lost when something gets too complicated, it's taking too long, then they tend to drop off. So we actually are more strategically inclined to have a faster process. So you want to be looking at, where can I meet these checkpoints in the fastest, simplest way possible? So that is an opposing strategy to what was being said back in like 2020, where people were saying, bring them in and then nurture them for ages and ages until they're ready. It's like, yeah, that's actually showing now in the data that the people sit on your list and just sort of, sit there smoldering for however long, they're less and less likely to buy. It actually is showing that the sooner somebody says yes and steps forward and signs up with you, then those are the more successful. So your demand system is designed to get somebody to that action point as fast as possible with the smallest amount of steps, but meeting all of those criteria so you get the yes through each of those checkpoints, right? So it's not one thing. It's not like Instagram will do that. No. You might want to use Instagram in this process, and it's going to have a specific role to play in one of them, right? So just as an example. Now, a demand system, and this is my terminology for it, because I don't really think that there is a generic term out there in the market for what I'm talking about. It is where you design it out. Now, a lot of people, I don't another funnel. I'm not tech savvy. This sounds like it's really complicated. And actually, it's not. You can put it on a piece of paper really quickly. It might only be 2 or 3 activities. The fastest, the most simplest ones have been 2. Sometimes you add a third. You want to start with the least amount, and you can obviously build in more complexity as you have appetite for it and as you want to. Maybe increase the amount of conversions through one of the checkpoints, then you might add in another activity to help increase the volume through there, which is absolutely fine and is always your choice on whether you do that, or if you swap out the activity that's in there that's not creating enough volume and put something different in. So it becomes very strategic. It's fun. It's easy to track. You can manage it with very simple data and numbers, which are going to tell you whether it's working or not. So it's why I say this is the absolute antidote to scattered marketing, because you've got a very clear system in place that will help you get to your goal. Really, when I think about it, a demand system is the only way to have predictable sales without increasing your marketing effort. In fact, usually I think it's decreasing your marketing effort. I love when people come and we go through this process together. Usually I'm doing it inside my Business Jam program or working with clients one-to-one. When we get to designing their demand system, and they realize they can drop some activities because they're not necessary. They don't actually need the system. It's like, wow, what a relief, some of that time back. Now, a way that I'd like you to think about it, because right now you might be thinking, well, this is still seeming a little bit conceptual. What do you actually mean by demand system and how is it different? Let's imagine for a moment that your business is a village, or maybe it's even we're going to say a factory, because it's producing something, right? Your business is there to produce revenue. And the way that you produce revenue is what happens in the factory. That for you may be coaching, might be consulting, it might be providing a service, doesn't really matter. Your business is like a factory that is doing some production, and the output is your revenue and your profit. In order for that factory to run, it requires water. So the way that you might be feeding the factory currently is like going up the hill to the well at the top and getting buckets of water and bringing them down. It's a very time-consuming, high labor way to bring water to the factory. And if you stop, then the flow stops. It literally just stops until you pick up a bucket and walk back up the hill again and bring another one. The demand system is more like an aqueduct. So yes, it may take a little bit of time and effort to build your demand system, because you're going to build something from the well or from the lake or the water source at the top of the hill down to your factory. And it's going to deliver a constant flow, a consistent flow, not suddenly a huge amount and then droughts where there's nothing. It's just going to be this constant flow. Like, gosh, I always think it's amazing how the Romans designed aqueducts way back, thousands of years ago now, 2000 or more. And they designed it as that way of just keeping the water flowing, not too fast, not too slow. It never stopped and it never rushed. You just want that consistent flow. The same as your business. It's like, imagine having that consistent flow of clients coming in at the pace that you need them for your business, which is going to be different for everybody. If you've got very high ticket, high engagement, high effort offers where you only work with one client at a time, or maybe, you might have enough capacity for 3 clients at a time, you've got very different needs to someone who's selling a high volume offer that's a lower ticket where you might be needing 100 people a week. Like, you can have a completely different demand system designed for both of those, right? The aqueduct would need to be designed differently to have a higher flow where you've got that higher volume business. Next, I want to share with you just a few things that people have said to me when we've started talking about it, some misconceptions around what a demand system really is. So the first one is that people say, I don't want to have to market myself constantly. Like, the idea of a demand system, it means that there's going to be something constant that's going on. And actually, this is like the opposite of what is the constant demand, which is what is happening now with the scattered marketing. The scattered marketing method, where you've just got, platforms that you need to be on and places you need to be everywhere, and something that's happening all the time, that is requiring your constant demand. Whereas a demand system actually may require far less of you. And there are ways to actually remove a huge amount of effort from you. So the machine that you're building, it will create a constant flow, but it doesn't need to be fed constantly. A good demand system shouldn't mean more marketing activity. It should mean less, but more intentional and far more strategic. Now, other people have said to me, well, it sounds like I'm going to have to become an influencer. I'm going to need to be one of those people out there that are doing all of the things and all the content. You want to be known for your expertise, but maybe you don't want 50,000 followers or, that sort of level of audience. And that's absolutely fine. The reason why you might be thinking that is because if you've attached the having demand to you need a big audience in order to have demand, then that's where the problem is, because demand does not come from a big audience. Yes, you need to have an audience, but it's far more right audience, a much smaller audience that is the right people will create more demand than having a huge audience of many people who are completely irrelevant. So, good news for you. You don't need to have viral reels. You don't need to be doing trending sounds, dancing on camera, creating a personal brand theater of your life and putting everything online. That is actually not required to have an effective demand system. Now, other people have said to me, I don't want a complicated funnel. And I hear you, Some ones that I have seen are very complicated, and I know that there are certain coaches out there who teach a specific method, and there's like, you've got to have 3 different videos, and you've got to have this system and 10 billion emails and blah, 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 blah. There's all of these requirements in there, and actually the setup of it takes so long, and the thing is that it's usually only for one tiny part of your business. Now, the good news with a demand system is it may actually be things that you're already doing. But instead of it just being done in a silo on its own as an individual activity, it's now got a purpose that connects it to the other activities. So you're getting a compounding nature of that effort going in on one piece actually adds to the result and the outcome of other activities that you're doing. And together they compound, together they create the flow and drive the demand. So a demand system, it isn't a funnel, because a funnel is sort of like a path that the buyer takes, but a demand system is more like a set of mechanisms that are taking people through a journey of those emotional and logical triggers that I mentioned before. Now, you might be thinking, I don't want to be now doing another thing. This sounds like another thing I've got to add to my schedule that I've now got to do. And it's on top of all the stuff that you already are doing, right? And yes, while there is a small piece of work to do to design your demand system, it actually is done extraordinarily quickly. You will likely be using things for your demand system that you're already doing, but by creating a flow of how they work and what you're using it for, it's suddenly going to become more strategic. You will likely also be able to cross things off your list, get rid of some of the stuff that is not helping you. It's just adding more tasks, more resource, more back-end effort without it impacting the front end. And the reason why the demand system is different in this way is because it's designed specifically for the offers that you have. So we're not marketing a business. We're not kind of bringing people in and leaving them there to figure out what it is that you do and what's relevant, sort of like dumping them on the homepage of your website and going, there, figure out what you need. That's not what this is about. It's much more specific to what you're selling. So when somebody comes in, your demand system is supporting them through to the offer, to the sale of the main thing. Now, you might have more than one offer, and your demand system is actually sophisticated enough to be able to understand that and create the flow that helps bring the people into the right first offer, then to the second one, then to the third, if there are three. And it enables you, when you do it in that way, that you're far reducing the amount of marketing effort, but it's also increasing profit because your business is suddenly now linked. It's a series of linked actions rather than a whole lot of disparate systems selling different offers, which is usually what's happening at the moment. So right now you've really got a choice to make in terms of, well, how else do you plan on creating what you want in consistent clients, having that predictable demand where you know where your next clients are coming from. You're not guessing, you're not sitting there hoping and wishing and waiting for clients to show up. You know where they are, you know where they're coming from and what that step is before they become the clients, which means that you're in far more control. Like you can literally turn the tap on harder if you want to. You can dial it back if there's too much. You're really in a lot more control of your own business and how you want it to be working and flowing to match your capacity, your resources, and how you'll operate. So the other alternatives, if you don't have a demand system, well, are you in that place of trying to operate the scattered marketing, trying to have, 10 different funnels all running at once, all trying to sell different offers? And really, when you're doing that, how well are any one of them performing? How well are you monitoring them, really working on them? Because as we would all know, if you set up any kind of funnel, let's say, if you're not monitoring it and seeing where people are getting stopped, dropping out, then it's really something that's probably not working. Like you might have set it up, and how many of these have you got set up? Or half-finished ones, half-baked ones, where you're like, well, I created an opt-in page and a thank you page and an email sequence, and you get a little dribble or drabble of people going in every now and then, but how many are actually making it through to the end? And you're busy working on something else, so you're not going back in there, figuring it out, updating it. And this is the problem with the business that's running multiple funnels, multiple scattered marketing, all as their own individual little project. It's very resource intensive. You can do it if you want to, but it would require quite a large team, like teams that I used to run and manage when I was in corporate, where, I had 10 people reporting to me. We had the ability to be running multiple funnels and campaigns at the same time. But even then, it was very easy to reach our capacity. And suddenly, when you're at that capacity, you're not performing as well because you don't have the time to go in, really analyze what's going on, and make the changes that are required. So that is the way to have a very non-scalable business. It's very hard to scale when you're watching so many different pots boiling all at once and trying to, keep your hands on them all and keep them boiling without overflowing. That is not an easy way to do it. And I say that from definitely a position of a lot of personal experience in that place, but also really from just seeking to help you. So many people feel so burnt out, exhausted by marketing, and it's literally because you're just actually doing more than what is required, and that is ineffective. It's not an efficient way to be running your business. So what I thought, I've been teaching my clients the demand system usually after we've been through some other core strategic pieces, because I know that it definitely works a lot better when you have your positioning is completely aligned. You've got the right offers. You've got these other pieces in place. And then the demand system is super fast and easy to design and to build and implement. But I realized, I think there are quite a lot of people out there that could absolutely do with help to design their demand system. Maybe you're like, yep, my positioning's good. I've got offers that are working. I'm just not getting enough people to them. And I'm spending all this time marketing. If that was you, then you may be interested in a new course that I'm just starting to put together. So I thought, well, maybe I could teach just the demand system on its own as something like as a course that people could sign up for and do. And, I can show you how to create a demand system. Now, I'm not sure how many people are really that interested in it. So if you've been listening to this episode, you're now at the end, you're thinking, gosh, I would love to have that in my business. Would you be interested in a course if I was offering a course on how to build it? Yes or no? If the answer is yes, then I've created a list where I can just capture interest. And if I get enough interest of people to do it, I literally just put it there and run it. So if you would love to put your name down, show that you'd be interested in it and get the first invite if I then decide to go ahead and build it, then please head to my website. I've popped the link in the show notes, but just in case you're listening along and don't have a pen right now, it is jessicaosborne.com/BYDS, which stands for Build Your Demand System -register. If you head to that page, so jessicaosborne.com/BYDS-register, head there, pop your name on the list. It'll show me that there are people who would love to have this course. Would only be quite a short course, really easy to do yourself, and obviously the ability to get feedback as well from me. Pop your name down and I'll be in touch. If there's enough interest, then with an initial offer to come in and be one of the first people through this course with me. So why not? If it sounds like something that would make a big difference to you in helping you have more revenue, definitely more profit with less marketing effort, less overheads, then pop your name down and I would love to have you in there as a founding student on the course should I end up creating it. So that's what I'm up to right now. Now, next week, I've got a great episode coming up that I know you'll absolutely love. So please make sure that you are subscribed to this podcast, you're following so that you get the podcast in your playlist, and I will be speaking to you then. Bye.